What's up, everyone? My name is Marie. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, I am once again building in the world of Mount Simmary. I think this is going to be the last one for now. I'm so obsessed with this world and I wanted to build in all three of the neighborhoods. So yeah, this is the only neighborhood that I haven't built in just yet. So yeah, I'm up on the snowy mountain of Mount Simmary and I'm building a tiny house that is meant for a snowboarder or an athlete in that sense. So yeah, I was definitely thinking a snowboarder could also be like a rock climber or a skier or something, but I specifically had a snowboarder in mind for some reason. And yeah, I'm building in the snowy part of the world, obviously. And by default, this neighborhood only has 2 rentals and the onsen, obviously, and a very large empty lot that I actually moved this little house to for the screenshots, but that lot is so big, so it would kind of be ridiculous to build this tiny little house on that huge lot. So I decided to just place it down on one of the smaller lots. And yeah, just build it next to the other rental. And I didn't specifically build this house as a rental, but you could definitely use it as one. So it's pretty versatile in that sense. I was not thinking that this would actually be someone's permanent house. Like, it could be very easily. I think it'd be a lot of fun to actually play in this house. It's very small and cozy. Though it does have 2 bedrooms, so one bigger bedroom and one very small guest bedroom. I was thinking at least could also be just someone's full bedroom, but I was thinking that it could be a guest bedroom. So yeah, but I was thinking that this is not someone's permanent house, but more so someone's house that they stay in on the weekends or during vacations or something like that. Because as I mentioned before, I was thinking that this house is for a snowboarder and I was thinking that they are a professional athlete. So yeah, I was thinking that the person that comes to this house or stays in this house is actually very young and maybe they live in an apartment or maybe they even still live with their parents, but they are training to become a professional athlete, or maybe they already are a professional athlete and they come to Mount Simmary, to the mountain in Mount Simmary, to participate in like snowboarding competitions and for training, of course. And I was thinking that maybe they could also be training for the Olympics even. I mean, we don't have that in the Sims, obviously, so it's just imagination, but I was thinking that it'd be really fun that this house could be for someone who stays here like every weekend or whenever they have free time or whenever they like need to practice or have training or whatever. So yeah, that's what I was thinking that this house was for. Like, they could stay here, so not permanently, but whenever they need to, whenever they have time, which is pretty often, I was thinking, because if you're a young person and you're training for the Olympics, like, I don't know anything about this, but I'm pretty sure that you are like training full time. Like, you have to go to school and stuff as well, but you're probably in some sort of like special program in school and you spend all of your time on the slopes training. So that is definitely what I had in mind for this person as well. So they probably go to school as well, or maybe they are homeschooled at this point. But they do still live with their parents or like somewhere else in the little apartment. But this is kind of like their second home whenever they need to stay on the mountain for a little bit longer, or just, I don't know, like I just explained, just whenever they need to, they can come to this little house and stay here and participate in competitions and do their training and all that sort of stuff. Because these lots are like right down by the slopes, which it makes sense because they're rentals for your Sims who want to go skiing or snowboarding or rock climbing or whatever. So yeah, it makes perfect sense for this little house to be here. And like I said, it also has a guest bedroom, because maybe to make just a little bit of extra money, they from time to time just rent out the extra room, or whenever they're not staying in this house, they rent out the full house and make it so that they can rent it out for a family of 3, which doesn't really work, I don't think, because the bigger bedroom does have a double bed, but it is up against the wall. So you can't really have 2 Sims sleeping in that bed unless the scoot over trick works in your game, which I know it does not for everyone. It has worked for me before. I don't know if it's still working though. I haven't really tried it lately. But yeah, there is a double bed, and then the other bedroom is very small and only has a single bed. So yeah, I was thinking that maybe this house could also be a rental to other people, but it also belongs to someone else. And they stay here whenever they need to. But yeah, I really like the shape of this house. I did not really have any specific reference picture or anything for this house. I basically just started building. I had some sort of vision in my mind, I think, not a very clear vision, but I kind of had like a certain vibe in mind, and I just started building. And yeah, I really like the way that this little house came out. The shape is a lot of fun, in my opinion. I used a lot of platforms on the inside of the house as well, which I was really enjoying. And I used a little platform for part of the roofing of this house as well, which I think looks really good. It's definitely a very modern looking house, which is kind of what I had in mind as well. So it's definitely just a modern, prefabricated tiny house that was just placed here. And it definitely does not take up all of the lot, because I think the lot is a 30 by 20 if I'm not mistaken. But it doesn't really matter because everything is covered in snow. So it kind of looks like just one big area, if that makes sense. So yeah, I did not take up all of the lot for the landscaping. I also didn't bother placing down any terrain paint or anything, because I built this, well, obviously in the snowy part of Mount Kamarebi, but it's always going to be snowy here. Like, the snow never melts, whatever the time of year, if you have seasons, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be like this. So I figured if you want to place this lot down in Mount Kamarebi, then you're not going to need any landscaping. So I just didn't bother. If you want to place it somewhere else in a different world though, you totally can. You're just going to want to do some touch-ups with the landscaping, or yeah, well, just the landscaping and the terrain paint and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all. It's nothing too special, nothing too complicated for you to do. So I think that should all work out just fine. But yeah, as you can see, we moved on to the inside of this little house already. The outside didn't take me all that long because, well, like I said, it's not too big. There is a nice porch area though that your sim can use to like store all their equipment, their snowboarding and skiing equipment and things, which I really like that decorative item, that rack with all the snowboards and skis and stuff in it. I think it's really cute. So I placed 2 of those on the porch area. And then I moved on to the inside, and I was having a lot of fun with the color scheme. I was using that orangey floorboard from Eco Lifestyle, I think. Yeah, it's from Eco Lifestyle. It's one of my favorite floors, and I really love that orangey swatch. So I was definitely very inspired by that color, and I combined it with darker grayish blues on the wall, and then the kitchen also is pretty blue and gray and black and stuff. So I kind of went for those like darker colors, but I combined it with white and then that warm toned orangey flooring, basically. So I think that the color scheme in here works out really nicely. I was definitely very much enjoying it, at least. And so yeah, here you can see I am just decorating this little entryway. I am now, by the way, obsessed with making these sunken down entryways. I see them in pretty much every Japanese home, and this is not specifically a very Japanese looking home. It is a little bit Japanese inspired, obviously, because I'm building it in this world and with the new items as well. But for the first time, as you can see, in my previous builds in this world, I used the kotatsu table in both of them. But for this house, I steered away from that because I have not used this little dining table yet. So I just really wanted to place this little dining table with the stickers in this house. I think that table is really, really cool, and it just looks like, I don't know, a very youthful little table, and I thought it was perfect for this little house with this like snowboarding vibe, if that makes any sense. I don't know, I just thought it was perfect for this little house. So yeah, I used it and I had a lot of fun with it. I went for the new counters that we had, or that we got with this pack again for this build, because I just think they're really cool. I still wish we had a swatch of them that was more closed off though, or not like a swatch, but maybe their corner pieces or the end pieces could be closed off in some way. But they're not, and that's also fine. I mean, I think they're still really pretty, and I will still use them a ton probably, because I think they're really beautiful, and I actually love cluttering, so it's not too much of a struggle for me to clutter them up nicely. Though for this house, I believe I did not use that much clutter in them, because this house is pretty small. So yeah, I didn't really want to use too much clutter, because it would be a lot, or just a little bit too busy, just a little bit too much for your eyes, and not that comfortable to play in my opinion. So I still use a lot of clutter. I'm thinking that the person that lives here or that stays here is not like too much into cleaning up their home, because they're constantly outside, they're constantly on the slopes, so they're not inside that much. So yeah, they don't really spend a lot of time cleaning up. So yeah, there's definitely some clutter and just a little bit of a mess in the kitchen, but I think that gives the house a little bit of character as well. So I was definitely very much enjoying that. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, I also placed down some clutter inside the cabinets and on the shelves as well. But yeah, like I was saying, I built this house in the rental area of Mount Komorebi, but I had to move it for the screenshots to that bigger lot, because the lighting on both of these lots in this area is just not great. And I think that is such a shame, because these lots are very nice. They're very pretty. Like, you can build very nice homes on these lots. It's a lot of fun, but just the lighting, it disappointed me a little bit, because there was no way that I could get sunshine on the front of the house, if that makes any sense. Like, there was always this shadow. Also, probably because this house has a very large like awning in front of the house, or basically the roof is hanging over quite a bit over the porch, if that makes any sense. So of course that makes for a larger shadow, but still, like, there was no way that I could get the sun to shine on the front of the house, and it made it look very dark and cold. So for the screenshots, I moved it to that very large empty lot, which, by the way, is extremely pretty. I had not loaded into that lot before I placed this house there, so I'm very much inspired to build something on that lot as well, something larger, because that lot just has the most amazing view. But like I said, I think for now, I'll just go back to more quote-unquote regular builds again that are not just all Mount Komorebi inspired. But yeah, before I did that, I wanted to make sure to build in every single one of the neighborhoods that we got in this world. So yeah, this is definitely the last one that I'm doing for now. I'll definitely come back though to Mount Komorebi, because I think it's really pretty, and maybe also because it's new, but I think it's one of my favorite worlds, because it's just so characteristic and so unique, and definitely not like anything else that we have in the game, which goes for pretty much all of the worlds. But still, this one is definitely something different, and I love it a lot. I think they did a really good job on this world. It's extremely beautiful, and all three of the neighborhoods are so different from each other as well. So I love that about it. Though I wish that the city center, like that neighborhood where the train station is, I wish that one got a little bit more crowded. I know that a lot of people have talked about this before, but when I was doing a little bit of gameplay, I also noticed that there was like basically no Sims spawning in that area, which is such a shame because it would be so much fun if that area was a little bit more crowded and a little bit more lively like that. I think that that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, sadly it's not, which is, I mean, it's fine. Maybe they can change that or something at some point with a patch. I don't really know. But yeah, here you can see I moved on to the first bedroom. This is the quote-unquote master bedroom, or the biggest bedroom in the house. And I was really enjoying that orange wall. I think it's really pretty. I love the color orange, but especially this tone of orange. Maybe some people say it's more on the yellowy side. I still think it's orange though, but I really love that color. And I placed down that mural of a person on the mountain, and I think that dark gray like mural goes hand in hand with that orange color. I think it's really beautiful. It complements each other very nicely in my opinion. But you can see that the bed is up against the wall, so you can only access it from one side, which if scoot over works for you, then you can have 2 Sims sleeping in the bed. If it doesn't, you can only have 1 Sim sleeping in this bed. And I also placed down a very large or bulky dresser in this bedroom, but I did playtest it. I placed it a little bit in the wall though for it to work, but there's no routing issues here. Your Sims can just walk past the dresser, or like kind of like in between the dresser and the bed right there. It all works perfectly fine. So just make sure that you have bb.move objects activated when you place down this lot, because otherwise you'll have some issues, I think. But yeah, as I was thinking that this bedroom is for a very young person, I still cluttered it up with just some youthful items in my opinion, and I placed down that plaque on the wall, which I think is really pretty, and I was thinking that it could be a prize that they won with snowboarding, even though it's not for snowboarding. I think in the game it's for rock climbing, but I don't really care. It's still very pretty. So I was just imagining that it was something that they won with snowboarding, and that they hung up on the wall. And here you can see this is the tiny little extra bedroom or guest bedroom, or maybe you want to have 2 Sims staying in this house, which could work out perfectly fine. But I was just thinking that they rent out this room from time to time to just make a little bit of extra money and not waste so much space in the house either. So that's what I decided to do. Just a tiny little bed in here and a tiny little dresser, and I cluttered it up with a couple of plants and a bookcase to make it just look a little bit more pretty and lived in. But yeah, that is pretty much already going to be it for this little house. I really hope that you enjoyed this house. You can definitely download it off the gallery if you want to. My username on the gallery is Simmarysims. Just make sure to activate bb.move objects. I already explained this. But just activate that cheat before you place it down, and then you should be just fine. But yeah, that is already going to be it. So yeah, you can also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter if you'd like. My username on there is also Simmarysims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next build. Bye!